Hey friends, welcome back here at Thrifty Journal Shop. My name's Amber. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome. Hello, I'm so glad that you are here. Today I'm going to share something I've been working on, taking a little break from the Christmas journals. I'm still playing around in those. I have a tendency to like to dabble in a lot of different things. I am going to show my gingerbread house journal for just a moment here. So in one of my last videos that I made, I did some memory keeping and I showed how I was putting some scraps of fabric together and then adding pictures. And so that just kind of got me going down into a little bit of a rabbit hole of piecing together some fabrics. And I wanted to do some slow stitching. I created this little guy right here, and I will zoom in. It's got a pretty white background here just to maybe bring out some of the colors. This is the bottom of a paper sack. And what I did here was I just took a bunch of different scraps of fabric, just took my glue stick and just laid them down. And then I went around with my sewing machine and did some messy stitching. And then I just did some slow stitching. I was practicing different stitches and I added this little patch and I just added a silk flower. And then inside, I did the same thing, just a bunch of different scraps of fabrics. I added some stars and added some more really fun fabrics. So this is the first journal that I have made using pages that are just fabric. I just took like scrappy kinds of fabrics. I've got this quilt that I've used on different projects. This was part of a recycled like grocery bag. And then I've got some like heavier, I'd say cotton materials. Some of these almost feel like maybe like upholstery fabrics. So I just added 7 different types of fabrics in here. This is a really pretty fabric that I found in the bottom of my bin. I love it. It's got like the paisleys and the glitter. What I like about this fabric is I like both sides of it. I think both sides look really pretty. So then I just started playing around in here, did some stitching. I've been making some hearts and I'm going to show you some of those. And then here's just a little cluster that I got it from Carrie over at the Paper Monkey. I put some beads on here. This was part of a tablecloth. So I was just practicing my stitches, just kind of playing around. I love to do this like at night, or if I just want a break from my brain. I just find it very zen-like. It's just, I don't know, I've always wanted to get into slow stitching and learning different stitches and maybe embroidery. So I'm just using what I have. I was using some wax thread and I wasn't too happy with that. So I did go to the Dollar General and I picked up some like embroidery floss. And I love this. I love that it has all different colors. And so here is just a picture that I added, and I added some beads and these little charms and a button, playing around here. I'm thinking about adding some paints in here. So this was me just trying out my some of my paint markers, my acrylic paint pens that I have. And then I just added some beads just to see how it would take with paints. Then I love making little houses. So I just made this little scrap house and I cut out a little bird. This is a piece of wallpaper and another little scrappy heart. So this is what I've been working on, and I love this little journal. I love the size of it. And so I'm putting feelers out there if you guys are interested in maybe some kind of journal like this. What's nice about this is that this didn't really even take me long because this is just like a paper sack. And then I could just, fill it with a bunch of remnants of pieces of fabrics and stuff. This is pretty raw. I didn't measure a lot here, but I love it. And then I have this one. This one's pretty scrappy too. I added some different fabric hearts here. And then this one, I did reinforce the spine a little bit with some file folder. And I just put a bunch of different random scraps of fabric. I might put some pockets. I'll probably keep this one for myself because it is pretty scrappy. It isn't even here. But then I didn't stop here. But I did end up making 2 larger covered journals. And these, I will put these probably in my Etsy shop. And I love the way that these turned out. They're going to be raw, they're going to be scrappy, but I tried something new with this one. So what I did for the spine here is I used a paper towel roll. I just cut it because it's already round, and then it made like this perfect rounded spine. And then for the spine here, this is the outside of that beautiful fabric, but I really like the inside. So I used the inside here, and then I just lined it with some wallpaper. And then I made the pockets using just some recycled file folder, and I put a bunch of different scraps and sewed all around it. And then this is the back of this one. I really like how this one turned out. I have this fabric that's like holly hobby-ish. And so I left the little girl here, added this little fabric heart. I've got the little llama. And then this was from some craft kit of a Easter vest. And I went ahead and cut the butterfly out. So I added that. So it's nice and bright and cheery. I love this fabric with the birds. So I'm debating whether or not I might put pieces of fabric in here and paper. So it might be like you could slow stitch, you could art journal. So that is this one. And then this one's a little bit longer. Same thing for this spine. I used a paper towel roll. And so that is what this one looks like. It's just a bunch of funness. And then I did add some hearts here. Here's a fabric heart. Then this one is just some of my painty papers or my doodle papers. And I just added that. And then in the inside here, I just used some wallpaper. And then here's that really pretty fabric. I made some more pockets using the file folders. So there is that. And that is the back. So yeah, I love fabric scrappy journals, and these are going to be really fun. So I'm working on these. And then this is some of the cutoffs of these. So this is the wallpaper from this one. And so I just added a heart, just sewed some fabric. And this is the same thing with these. So what I did with these hearts, I want to show you. So this is how the cover started out for these journals. I just take a paper sack. I mean, this one I might even turn this one into a journal. I'm not sure yet. But I just take my glue stick and I just glue everything down. I might go over and add some more lace, and then I run it through my sewing machine after everything is dry. I then will probably reinforce the spine with the paper towel, add some wallpaper. So that's what it looks like before I do anything to it. So because I've gotten into the slow stitching, and I just feel like this is opening up a whole other window of funness. I mean, I just think that that is really pretty and unique. And I like the fact that you can see the stitches on the other side, but I know everybody might not like that look. So I've already thought about having like a plainer sheet, and you could always glue them together if you didn't want to see your stitches on the other side. I have made some other fun things. So right now, this is my little sewing box here. I love playing with shapes, and I really am into hearts. Hearts have always been my thing that I like to draw and add to journals. What I did with some of these, and I'll just show you some of these, is that I took this piece after I had sewed all around it, and I just went ahead and I just cut out some hearts. And here's this really cute fabric with all the little animals, and I just added the owl. I thought these would be great for, you could make journaling cards out of hearts or tags. You could put a little tab here and hang it in your shop. I've seen Janet Nash do some things with hearts, so I did get inspired by some of her work. I love watching her. She does a lot of really cool things with slow stitching. And so then I made this one. I haven't gone around it yet with the slow stitch, but I might do that. Then I took some this is some of the paper out of like a dress pattern. I just took my stamp and wrote love. I added a button. This is a felt sticker that I just sewed on there. Part of that pretty fabric with the animals. I love how this one turned out. This is just all sorts of different fabrics, and I've added some lace and some ribbon, and there's more of that tissue paper, and then I did stitch around it. I added these fun little beads. That's the back, so it's just the paper sack. Oh, here's another one that's fun. With added another little teeny heart. There's the owl. I just love it. And then I did some little stitching here. Just adds so much fun and color to it. And then I made some like this. This is my doodle paper, and I just backed it up on some, this isn't a paper bag, this is from some packaging, but I liked the brown around it. Added some more of that tissue paper, ruffled up some ribbon and slow stitched it there, added a button. I made some stars. I haven't done much with the stars yet. Here's another one. Now this is me using painty paper and fabric, which I'm going to do more of those too. I might make some covers using both. And then I just did some messy stitching on here. And that was just on the back of a craft book or a cookbook. So I've got all these hearts and they're just fun. Here's another one. This is just some of my acrylic paper, and I was just practicing some stitches. But then what I thought would be great was, here's a little house that I made. And I just took my sewing machine and sewed around it. But here I did hand stitch this little window on. I added this little duck. Then I added some fabric. And what I did was I just stuffed it with, I don't have batting or anything like that. So I just stuffed it with like scraps of paper bag. And then I added a little rickrack, and I thought I could hang it. So that's what I want to do with some of these hearts, is make just like some little hearts that I could hang on at my Christmas tree, or that you could hang maybe in your craft room or your art room, or you could give away as happy mail, because I thought this would be such a personalized way to, send some happy mail. So yeah, this is just using scraps of fabric, and you wouldn't have to run your sewing machine over this. I just use a glue stick, but if you had like a heavier duty glue, like a Fabri-Tac, you could probably just glue it all on and it'd probably stick down. But then you could experiment with like some stitching. I just really wanted to share this with you. This is very relaxing for me, just to sit down. I don't overthink it. I just take my scraps of fabric, a lot of them I tear, and I just start putting them down. I don't really think of color schemes. If you wanted to do color schemes, you could. I just sort of like all and everything. When you go through and like sew and piece it all together, it does sort of give it a really cool look. Now here's a wild one I made. I might calm this down a bit with some gesso, because this is sort of crazy. This is just, I had some junk mail that I used. I did use some fabric in here. Here's a fabric heart. Here's some paint chip. Here's more of that llama fabric. And I haven't gone through with my sewing machine yet, but I added some dress pattern tissue paper, some circles. Here's some circles, some doodle paper. So it's really sort of all over the place, but my plan with this is to cut it up and use it for hearts or journaling cards or tags. I guess this is kind of like a master board. I like to use paper bags. I recycle my paper bags. I love the weight of them. I love the crunchiness of them. And you could even do something like this and sew around it and make a journal cover out of it. I love that little picture right there. So my next journals that I'm going to have are going to be these fabric style journals, art journals. I might add some fabric. I'm looking for some feedback from you guys too, if you're interested in one. And it doesn't have to be now. I know Christmas is coming up. This is just something that I'm working on. And I will also be putting together some of these little journals. I might make some just a little bit bigger, but I think these are perfect. This would be like a really cost-effective journal too, because it doesn't take a lot of time for me to do that. I can just put like a bunch of different styles of fabrics in here if you wanted to practice with your stitching or painting. And this is sort of a learning curve for me too, because I'm going to start playing with paints and stuff in here and see how it holds up with the fabrics. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. If you like what you see, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the next up and coming stuff. And I hope you find some time to get outside and enjoy some weather. And I hope you find some time to play around with some fabrics or just create some color and have some fun. All right, I'll see you real soon. Thank you so much for watching.